Hey y'all, Dirk here from Dirk's Dystopia. I've got another episode of my Word Bearers video log. I made some progress, as you can see, and I just kind of wanted to get that on film and then talk about thoughts on the army and also kind of give an overview of the paint scheme that I'm going for here. So, as you can see, everything's red. You may think, oh, that looks a lot like 1,000 Suns red. It does, I know, but it will change very quickly. It's kind of I'm 6 stages into the paint scheme, and there's a couple more left, and then it will, in my opinion, really just kind of rounds out, makes them look very Word Bearers. These are the final product here, which you can see are much less shiny red. And I will talk about that. I'll come back with a short clip after this and just talk about the paint scheme and the steps. So this is where we are. This is the first time I've ever batch painted anything, so it's been interesting. I'm enjoying it. My goal is to kind of get the army done roughly at the same time so that I can play it as soon as it's done. When I built my salamanders, I wasn't actually playing Heresy at the time. I was just loved the story and wanted to kind of get into it that way. I didn't know anybody in the area that was playing Heresy, so I built it one unit at a time. I'd have 10, a 10-man tactical squad, and then a Rhino, and then Terminators, whatever. So it wasn't really playable for quite a while, which is fine. I hadn't found people until I was a fair way into it when I started looking. So that's that. Originally, my plan for this was just kind of a underworld war on Calth, Zone Mortalis type force, and I'm still building to that. There's a lot of that potential in here, but as I was building it, I kind of wanted to make it a bigger part of the whole Calth war unfolding, and kind of start from the beginning, the initial betrayal, and then move through as they end up underground, because the surface of the planet is completely wrecked and uninhabitable. So I think I mentioned last time I was able to get a hold of a couple drop pods that will help with that initial assault. The Dreadnought can come down in one, and I have the Dreadclaw, which can be used for a couple of options here or there. Bring a veteran tactical squad down, or plasma squad, or something like that. I have options. I do have the Volkite culverins. Oh, I do also have the guns all set up on this this piece of foam. So I have the Volkite culverins for that unit, the heavy bolters for that unit, plasma guns for that unit, and then everybody else has just got bolters or what they're holding now. So that's what this all looks like now. Going forward, I talked briefly last time, I am going to get some Galvor back very soon, and I'm also going to get a destroyer squad for the Moritat to have some boyfriends to hang around with. I think that fits pretty well. They'll have rad grenades and the rad missile launcher, which kind of fits into the whole, hey, let's go to Calth and just completely wipe the planet out and make it unlivable forever. So that's kind of where I'm going with the Word Bearers here. They're not not a compliance army, not even a dark compliance army. They're here just to wreck things and make them as horrible as possible. Phosphex, Volkite, rad, whatever they can come up with, they're gonna do to just make the whole thing horrible. So that's where this is. Stay tuned. I will come back right after this with a brief clip on just kind of the paint scheme, where it's at, what I've learned, batch painting everything thus far, and yeah, we'll talk about that. Okay, I'm back to have a brief chat about the painting scheme and how we got here. So last time you guys saw this, they were base coated black, Chaos Black. Abaddon Black, it's Abaddon Black now. I'll keep up eventually. Then right after that, I coated them all with Lead Belcher, straight from the rattle can. Super easy, just make sure I had good solid coverage. Next step is to take the model and hold it upside down, and with the airbrush hit it with Karaborg Crimson all the way around. Just try to cover all the undersides, and I also paid special attention to get it into like the grooves in the feet and things like that, anywhere where it should be darker. So just from the underside all the way around with that. Once that dries, I held them upright, and then I hit them with Runefang Silver at a kind of a 30-degree angle all the way around top, and then definitely directly down. So 30-degree kind of spiraling in to hit the top as well. And that's just going to make sure that that upper raised surface is brighter and the underside is darker, kind of that pre-shading, pre-highlighting. Next up, I did 3 fairly light coats of Tamiya Clear Red. I did thin that down with Tamiya's thinner. About 2 parts of the clear red to 1 part of the thinner. So it's already fairly thin. It probably would work through the airbrush, but I kind of wanted a little more control. As I've discovered, I've never batch painted like this before, but as I've discovered, get this stuff out of the way. Getting to make sure like the insides of the legs here between guys as they're on the stick is a little tricky, and the 3 thinner coats kind of gave me opportunity to see, oh, I've kind of missed here. I can come back and hit that just a little bit harder. Make sure I got a lot, the underside covered as well, because that's also tricky to get with the base in the way. There's a reason a lot of people paint them without being on bases, but I was trying to go for quick and dirty here. So that's that. I did from Leadbelcher. So once they were all Leadbelchered, I did all of the steps, the underside highlighting, the underside shading, the upper highlighting, and the 3 coats of clear red today. I probably actually had the airbrush running an hour, maybe hour and a half. It just kind of boom, boom, boom. I'd walk away, let the room air out a little bit, and the paint dry, and then keep going. Real quick, real easy. It's definitely making me feel pretty happy about the progress on this, since it's been months and months and months in the planning, and I'm finally getting some things done. I do, in fact, actually have a blister on my airbrush trigger finger. Not really complaining, but I do think it's hilarious. So yeah, that's a thing. But I'm super excited about this. Next up will be, I think I mentioned, I'm going to hit them with Karaborg Crimson again over the entire model. That gives them kind of almost a gritty, dusty's the wrong word, almost like a powder coat metallic look. Makes it look very dark and arterial, so very word bearers to me, especially around the Kelf conflict. So that's the progress here. Hopefully when you see them again, there'll be even more progress. May even start the details in, shoulder pads black. You don't see, he's over behind the camera, you can't see him. My Chaplin, he's still Leadbelcher. I'm having kind of a conundrum. I'm wrestling with exactly how I want to paint him. I painted my, if I can reach it behind me without knocking it on the floor, we'll see. I painted my Salamander's Chaplin black, kind of in the 40K style. I haven't been able to find a ton of information on exactly when that switched over to black. I know the word bearers were kind of the primogenitors of the Chaplin, but trying to figure out when and how, and they ended up black has been, I just haven't found it yet. I haven't looked in the right places, I'm sure. Sure it's out there. If you have any comments on that, let me know. So he hasn't been painted at all yet. I'm still trying to decide. He may just be red. That may just be the way I paint him. So that's where that's at. Thank you guys so much for tuning in and checking this out. I'm excited to keep it going. I hope you guys are excited too. Please like and share, subscribe so that we can keep doing more of this stuff. Thanks, guys.